There.
So now, were you already performing and touring before you was 20 or around 20? Is
No, because I did stuff in school. I went to Girard Academic Music Program.
Yeah, I know.
So we did things like traveling.
Okay.
And competitions and stuff of that nature. So I kind of was trained in school. So by the 20s, yeah, I was traveling, doing stuff with King Britt. He had a group called Silk 130. I'll go back so it'll make sense. He had a group called Silk 130, and we had did a remake of a classic called Last Night a DJ Saved My Life. That's what got us traveling. I was on Soul Train back then because of the song, and that's where my voice started. It developed and prepped in school, but by the 20s, early 20s, I found my style and my voice and what I wanted to do. Yeah.
So let me throw another name out there.
Okay.
When the funk hits the fan.
That's King Britt.
Right.
That's the song.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this about that. Now, would you say you ever thought that song would be historic? With you on it, you know what I'm saying? The way it was created, you on it, you seen the Silk 130 being on the tour, with them. Did you tour with them?
Yes.
Did you ever see it, like, to this day right now? It would be considered like one of the best Philly albums that ever came out. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
It's placed at number 34 as one of the PW put out that's number 34 as Philadelphia, one of Philly's best albums of all time.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
That is amazing. Thank you for telling me that. So I can answer that now. One, I didn't know that. Two, being a part of a work, because it wasn't just me on that album.
Right.
It was a collective, yes. And I just feel honored and a little bit humble because, you never know how people feel. And sometimes, like, for instance, you telling me that, I would have never known that. Because I don't always go back
and look for
things. Yeah, I really don't, because I'm bad at rejection. I don't like the negative stuff. You know what I mean? So instead of almost being bombarded with that, or not even being bombarded, but just seeing it, I follow the love and stick with what feels good and what keeps me in a peaceful state of mind. I know the whole world's not gonna love me and adore me. And I think having that being taught as a child to an adult with my mom, I understand that. But, if I can avoid the negativity, that's what I'm going to do. So I didn't know that, but being a part of a top album like that, it's humbling. And it's an honor.
So you never thought, like, this is going to be...
Not at all.
10 years, 20 years down the line, this is going to be something amazing for the culture.
Not at all.
So, take us to... you traveling overseas, being from here and traveling overseas, like, take us into that. Like, how did that start? About you start working with artists that's from overseas, and then you're traveling overseas, and then, we got international Lady Alma,
Well, I want to say it's sort of kind of predestined, because as a child, I didn't understand the power of spoken word back then. As an adult, I do. And so, in retrospect, looking back then, I was speaking that. I would be looking at TV and be like, I'm going to be over there. Because I always been into music. And so it was something that I just projected. And then years later to see it come into fruition, because sometimes what you may speak may not happen right then and there.
Right.
Keyword for anyone in any business is patience. And at that time, as a child, it was not a big rush. I just knew that I would be there at some point in time. So now let's fast forward to as an adult. It just, again, was a humbling experience because I would sit back, be on these planes, and just say to myself, do you remember you spoke this? This is what you asked for. So again, another tidbit for the people that's watching, be careful what you ask for. Be specific in it. Because all I said was, I'm going to be there.
Right.
Didn't know how. I just said, then I'm going to be there. Fast forward to now, again, to be able to do it, I will say it one more time, is humbling. And my advice, especially to my people, is get a passport. See the world.
Right.
Learn it for yourself. Don't let the media dictate. Don't let anyone else dictate to you what something is like, because that's their experience. You want to have your own. So passport is the key to life. And being overseas and getting to perform my music to a whole nother genre of people and being received, humbling, exciting, encouraging.
Who were some of the first couple people or people that you know can just always right off the bat remember as musicians and DJs or other bands that wanted to that embrace Lady Alma? It's like, yo, we're going to play, we're going to record,
Oh, it's a plethora of people. I want to say getting my start from support from the community, starting with King Britt and that crew of folk that used to hang out at at Silk City, down at Pippin Spring Garden. And you had a bunch of people like Jeff Bradshaw, Jafar Barron, Trey and Vidal, which are major legends today. They, award-winning writers. They work with Usher and Janet and, a slew of people, but you had a community. We had a community. I had support from these cats, the Kings, and my manager, Tony. Before we started working together, he enjoyed the music and believed in what I was doing.
Right.
So James Poyser, Tariq from the Roots, all these cats,
Right.
all these people would support Jill and Ursula Rucker, who is Philadelphia's poet. Besides, of course, the godmother, Sonia Sanchez, but Ursula, just a lot of people supported.
When like, just to hear you say godmother, that's how people view you now. They view you the godmother, the queen, soulful music in general, house, you got this voice that is just like irresistible. I feel like even if you hopped in another genre, outside of house, what you probably have done, I just know people going to eat the track alive because it's your voice on the track, When did you know you had that effect on people? Like, as soon as I touch this microphone or I get on this track, it's a go.
I still, to this day, don't ever realize that. It's just something that I love to do. And when I'm paired up with people that I enjoy being around personally, it's folk can bring the best out of you. Like, they can bring the worst out of you.
Right.
They can bring the best out of you. And so I just try to pair myself and always be around good, positive energy.
Right.
And so whenever that happens, it's only because of all the elements that are involved. And I'm just, again, fortunate and blessed that that happens.